Let's take a numerical example on import demand and export supply. Suppose the domestic demand function of petrol in India is given by this very function, that is 100,000 minus 5p, okay, where p is the price and domestic supply is 500 plus 10p. Also, the domestic demand of petrol in Iran is 1200 minus 20p and domestic supply in Iran is 1500 plus 15p. What will be the price of petrol when India imports from Iran? Okay, we need to find out at what price India will import from Iran. Okay, so what we are being given, let us write for India. Let me write it here. For India, we have demand function is being given us as demand is, that means q is equal to 1000 minus 5p and supply domestic supply is, that is q will be equal to 500 plus 10p. Okay, this is the demand and supply schedule for India. For Iran, let's write it here. For Iran, what is demand? Domestic demand in Iran for petrol is being given us as q is equal to 1200 minus 20p and domestic supply is equal to 1500 plus 15p. Okay, now India's import demand schedule is given by demand minus supply whenever price is below autarky equilibrium price. Okay, so for India's demand schedule will be equal to, let me write it here. So let us denote it by import demand schedule for India is being given by, that will be equal to demand minus supply whenever price is below autarky equilibrium price. What is meant by autarky equilibrium price? Let me show it here. So let us say this is our graph, this is our demand function, this is our supply function, this is domestic demand and this is domestic supply. Okay, at this point when domestic demand exactly meets our domestic supply, okay, so the intersection of demand and supply, this is the autarky price. Okay, at this point we don't import anything because we are domestically demanding exact amount what we are domestically being able to supply. Okay, so our import demand schedule is given by demand minus supply whenever price is below the autarky price. If this is our autarky price, this is below, let us say this is the price. At this price, let us say here our supply is less, demand is more. Okay, so demand should will be always below the autarky equilibrium price. Okay, so this is simply demand minus supply. So what is demand? Demand is being given as 1000 minus 5p minus, this is our supply, so this is 500 minus 10p. Okay, so this will be सात ने गो 500 500 500 minus 5 minus जाके minus 15p. Okay, this will be our India's import demand schedule. Okay, now for Iran, what will be the export supply schedule? Okay, so for Iran, what will be export supply schedule? So this, let us denote it by X. Export supply schedule of Iran. How can I differentiate it with this? So let's write it as IR. Okay, IR is subscript for Iran. So Iran's export supply schedule is given by supply minus demand whenever price is above the autarky equilibrium price. Okay, so here we will have the opposite one. So we will have supply minus demand. Okay, That means in this case we have excess demand, here we have excess supply. When excess demand is equal to excess supply, we will get the equilibrium price. Simple, simple enough. Okay, so what is supply? Supply is 1500 plus 15p, then we have minus 1200 minus go plus, huh? Okay, 20p. Okay, I hope you know this these little things. So let me write export schedule for Iran. Don't use export schedule for Iran. Okay, is given by this very function. So this will be Pandan वालों बस. So this is 300 Panda to 500. So we have plus 35 p, I guess. And this is export schedule of export supply schedule of Iran. Okay, now equilibrium will occur. So equilibrium will occur when uh, import demand schedule of India intersects export supply schedule of Iran. Okay, so if it is simply, if this is the export, sorry, if this is the import demand schedule of India, this is export supply schedule of Iran, equilibrium will occur at the intersection of these two functions. Okay, so now at equilibrium, what will we have? Our import demand schedule for India should be equal to export supply schedule of Iran. Okay, so now equating these two, we have 500 minus 15p should be equal to 300 plus 35p. Okay, so we have 500 transposing this here, so this will become 500 minus 300, this is 200. Okay, so we have 35p transposing this 15, 5 to 5, so we have 50p here. Okay, so this will become positive. So our price will be equal to 200 upon 50. So you go yes certain, so 5 ones are 5 fours are. So India will import from Iran at a price of 4 rupees or dollars, whatever is being given. So the India will import, that means the equilibrium price of petrol when India imports from Iran will be 4. Okay, I am really sorry for the background noise, I cannot control them. Okay,